All right, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to take the time and just address a few things. I think when it comes to solving problems, especially, I'm an artistic mind, creative brainstorming. I think a lot of entrepreneurs and artists are underutilized when it comes to solutions, problem solving, everything like that. And this is kind of a time to revisit and see what the creative mind is possible when it comes to solving solutions that have not been properly addressed. I think, and what we see, especially with revisiting the beginning of the election. And we had the problem with the immigrants, and the solution of building a wall seemed crazy to a lot of people, and I have the I try to see both sides of the perspective. I really do, and I think right now, just visual. The solution right now is that a wall. Okay, the solution to that is a wall. I think that's a very linear way of thinking, a very it didn't take much imagination to put that together, and I think this is what it comes down to is a wall is crazier, but maybe we got to think a little bit crazier and cooler. I think actually using the imagination, utilizing the imagination, and solving problems. So, um, and this is just my idea. I've been thinking about this for quite a long time, um, but it undermines that linear way of thinking. It opens up the possibility of yes. I think maybe we should, for a future, maybe have a wall. Maybe we should have a wall. But if we're going to do that, and this is thinking crazy, um, but let me just do this. Okay, we have a wall, but then we do this. Metaphorically, we leave the gates open. Okay, and this what this comes down to. Um, my proposal, okay, my proposal is building a city next to the border. We have the border here in Mexico, right? We have the border, okay? We're not going to lock everybody out. That's a stupid idea. This is a way and an opportunity for people to systematically come to the border and make sure that the process, is safer. It's a way of bringing immigrants into the country legally and everything, and we can have this in several locations. Again, this is thinking crazy, but we're not thinking crazy enough, I think. Just a beautiful city that's right there on the border of Mexico. We have the border here, and this goes into a lot too. Please stick with me because it's hard to put this just in a video. I'm a creative mind, so I'm kind of, I don't get to the point right away. Um, but this also takes problems that are not being solved, such as um, the benefits for veterans, and those we have stacks and stacks and stacks of those that are not being taken care of and being processed. And so let's just stick with me here. But you have a part of the city, and this would be a big city, and I think this is the way to start thinking, because it's going to start boosting the economy. It's going to have thousands and thousands and thousands of jobs that continue. Um, a wall that is going to produce jobs and produce an opportunity for anybody who wants to come down and complain that the immigrants are taking our jobs. No, this is an opportunity for you to go down and to have a job, and also to help immigrants come through the country. Kind of like Ellis Island, but a very cool way of integration. Um, so yes, we have the border, but people come to the country. They come to a small portion of it where it is just them getting set up. It's basically a place where they can sleep, and they can live for a little bit until we start having a process where it's basically set up where you have different layers, right? Where you have a section for living, and you have a section for education, and you have a section for taking the tests, and then so once you come into the country, you're a little more educated about America and the system, the language, and everything. So it still allows people that want to come into the country to go through a process. And this is kind of conservative and liberal thinking, but this is the structure of the city. It's still a beautiful city. It's very open and everything, but it's still on our side of the country. Um, and it's going to produce a lot of jobs. I know this is crazy thinking, guys, um, but there's another thing that wasn't addressed, and I have a friend who um, was in NASA, and he brought this to my attention, that the president of Mexico had proposed to our president, instead of building this wall and enforcing them to pay for the wall, to start introducing solar energy and stacking solar energy and solar panels across the borders, both in Mexico and America, which would start producing jobs on both sides, their country and our country. So it's on their country. Those people want to stay in their country because they have jobs and they're more secure in their own country. And then on our side too, it also had to do with the water filtration system, making sure we have clean water and making sure there's safe water for people to drink. And this would provide jobs not just for Mexico, but for us as well. So both sides of the spectrum, have a little more job security. And Donald Trump, this is what I was told, was he didn't even come to the meeting. And you guys can research this too. I'm a skeptic myself, but if this is not true, maybe this is a proposal that should be readdressed. But Donald Trump didn't even come to the meeting. He just said, nope, nope. Y'all are building the wall. You're going to pay for it. But now we realize that we're paying for it. So this gets into a lot of issues. But yes. So yes, you have, and this is a huge city. This doesn't really explain the magnitude of what it would be. It would literally be a new city on the border of Mexico. Displaying the architecture, the innovations of Americans, where Americans can live, but also it's introducing immigrants to the country if they want to come. If they want to come, they have a place to go where they're getting set up to be introduced to the country. It's kind of low income housing, and then you also have the educational system where you kind of go through a filtration process, and then the next step you'll be living in a more structured neighborhood and everything, getting introduced to the economy and the way the system works and the way our neighborhoods are set up, and the language and everything. Now again, this is a visual way of putting it together, but if this idea gets out there, it's kind of like, I'm just putting this idea out there, guys, and it's your job. It is kind of like, think of something better. If you have a better idea, go right ahead. But a wall, just a wall, that's not going to prevent immigrants from coming into the country. And at the same time, we should be allowing immigrants to come into the country and have the opportunity, because this is America. This is about freedom. People come here because of our freedom, because of the joy of freedom. So it's allowing it, but at the same time, all those people that want to complain, they're taking our jobs, they're taking our jobs. This is saying, no, if you want to complain about that, come down and get a job, um, but but and what that comes down to is there'd be a portion, it'd be kind of an exchange for the housing. You're probably thinking about that too, is, we're going to be paying taxes for this and the housing and everything, but exchange for the housing, all of the documents for getting the health care for veterans would be shipped down here, and immigrants would be processing it. They learn the computers, and that's a basic thing for getting jobs, but processing healthcare for veterans, and it's just getting that paperwork done and getting that done. And, and even in my mind, I sit here and I think, I've seen pictures of the stacks and stacks and stacks, like from the floor to the wall, of just papers not being processed for healthcare for veterans. And it's like, why aren't they? Because that's automatically like thousands and thousands of jobs right there. It's just the information has to be shipped out to people so they can process that paperwork. And here we say, we don't have the time, or we don't have the resources, or we don't have the people that are willing to do that. I think even Americans, obviously people already in America will be like, yes, I would love to help veterans get jobs. So either we allow that, or set something up like that for Americans, or we also utilize it with immigration, with Border Patrol and immigration. It's just, we're not thinking. This is putting two ideas together, and we're just not thinking in the right direction, I think. But then this also goes into the farming industry because you have this basic thing set up, but on the outskirts of it, you do have the farming industry and everything, and you have the grid starting to be set up for solar energy. I mean, this is just basic, guys. It's just a way for you to visualize it, but just think of it as something more beautiful than these small lines. And this is a horrible drawing, um, but starting up the grid for getting energy back into this country. Free energy that frees us. On the magnitude of and getting more resources that are free. And if you want to complain about other people taking the jobs, come on down to this place right here, on the outskirts of it, because there'll be a second part of the city to be built on our side of the wall that also utilizes the farming industry. And I think farming around there is the seasons and everything are, it might be hard. I don't know how that goes with the farming industry down there as far as seasons and growing. But, you have the wall here, the process, the outskirts of it. You have the farming industry, the solar energy, the new energy, but on the side of Mexico too. Um, you know, in my mind, I would think the Mexican leaders would not want to be losing all of their people. So they are also setting up a city of their own that is helping people get set up to stay on their side of the border, and they're also working on solar energy for their country, and they're also working on the farming industry. So it's kind of like you get here, there's opportunity for jobs. If you want to continue going to America, you can go to America. If you want to stay and come back to the country and help, and I know there's a lot of issues, a lot of smarter people out there that would have input and everything, but it's just like nobody talks like this, nobody thinks like this. It seems, we have all these leaders. A wall is a solution, and it's not working, and it's already failing. The idea is already failing, and we're going forward and charging forward on the next issue, and already failing on another issue that is not even being addressed. And the wall and immigration, that was the whole point of the election, wasn't it, guys? And then we're just dropping that and neglecting it, saying, "Oh, screw it. There's another new problem because the last problem failed." And you see this pattern that I see. I don't know if you see that pattern. We're neglecting the previous problem and creating new problems. Um, so it's just a new way. I think, you guys, if you can use your imagination a little bit and see how cool this could be, I think most of us are visualizing this tall wall, kind of like a scary wall, like um, division of the country and everything. But I think, yes, using a wall, but making it just making something beautiful out of this country. I think it's kind of compromising, negotiating, using the imagination, inviting people to make a difference, to make a change, to move down there, and having more security. Of course, there would be more military protection too, as well, all across the border. But it's setting up military families who want to live there, who want to make honest living, too. So it invites more Americans down to Mexico and starts building up the city. Now I know people are going to say, "Chad, you're crazy. You're crazy to say let's build a city." But think about how many jobs that would create. You have the plumbers, the construction workers, the electricians, um, everything. You have the education. You have everything, and it just how many jobs would that create in just this one section? And even just the job of building a new the idea of building a new city, even if it's around the idea of motor transportation, like rebuilding Detroit and dedicating, just saying we're going to make Detroit better again. We're going to take the most neglected city and make that the new industry of motor innovation. But our leaders aren't even offering this to the public. They're not addressing things in this manner, and it worries me. If it worries you guys too, um, I don't know. Share this video and just see, just pass it on, just to get the gears going. I think this is my solution. Maybe there's better solutions out there, of course. I don't think I'm the greatest or the best artist out there, but think about, you know, the new architecture, the new innovation with energy, the new farming industry, and coming back and revisiting problems that we seem to neglect and move forward before solving those problems. And I think that's a huge problem where you're neglecting so many things in this country. And then we're heading towards, I mean, yeah, we're heading towards what seems to be a nightmare. So we got to start putting our dreams out there, our imagination out there. It would be my bet that we would end up going into, you know, World War III or another civil war or something, because we never opened ourselves up to our imagination and had that dream, that vision. And I think that's what this country lacks the most is vision, actually having a vision. Um, you know, and I think the artists, the musicians, the entrepreneurs, the philanthropists, you know, got to start thinking about this kind of thing. So even as this video happened to get somebody to be like, you know what, I kind of like that idea. Maybe not using it for Mexico, but kind of the same structure for building a new city somewhere in the country, just for people that want a job, for a safe place, for an integrated place, a new place, to flock and just build something. You know, create something out of nothing to give people hope. And I think that's the way we should be thinking now instead of, well, I don't know. I don't know how we're thinking America. It doesn't seem like we get so obsessed with the negative. We're not thinking about the positive or opening our imaginations up to new possibilities. And that just seems wrong. And we're going to regret that, I think, in the future if we're not putting our ideas out there. So, again, that was a bad example of me drawing it, but hell, you know, I'm just going to put this video out there. And if you like the idea, just please share it. Because it does come down to, you know, and if you move down to this city, because you're offering humanitarian service, you know, if you live in this part of the city too, your taxes would be reduced because you're helping both with border security and making sure there's, I don't want to say it that way, but a quality of people that are coming into this country, that they're prepared. And obviously, I think anybody that would live within those walls of that border, the taxes would be way reduced. So I'd draw more people to be like, you know what, I kind of like that idea. And we got to start thinking about this way of thinking too, because everybody likes free or less taxes or whatever. You can use that into a really imaginative idea. And a place where we feel secure. I know there's a lot of issues along the border as well, but we got to at least start somewhere and have that vision. And if we actually had, you know, that would be the main step is having, bam, like a picture of this city, a picture of this city for everybody to look at. If that picture was there, people would be like, wow, that's pretty rad. You know, that's kind of a beautiful place. That I could get behind, and it represents culture. It represents us as Americans working together, not shutting people out just for the sheer sake of saying you're taking our jobs or whatever. No, this is us working together with our fellow neighbors, you know, and not neglecting the issues that we should be addressing more. And I think we got to open ourselves up to our imagination. And that's pretty much just the purpose of this video. So, you know, please put some input, because that's how creative minds work. I'm not, you know, I love constructive criticism. I really do, because that helps me kind of solve that next problem. So if you have a contradiction or any input criticism, please put that in the comments, so that'll help me kind of get my gears going a little bit, because I think artists are extremely underutilized when because we think differently, and we keep having these problems arise. And I think shutting out the art community and the problem solvers and the brainstormers out of politics is a huge mistake. Even having a section in Congress that is artists, designers, entrepreneurs. We don't have that. Why? We don't have the best architects, the engineers, and just one little section in Congress, because, and this comes down to building up the neighborhood, building up the infrastructure and everything. We talk about infrastructure, the neighbors and everything, but we don't even have a section in Congress that people can go to and have that kind of leadership. And I think that needs to be done. That's just my opinion. Um, anyway, share this video if you like it, but put comments in there. I'm open to criticism, and I'm open to suggestions, and I'm open to love. Anyway, much love, guys. Peace. Thanks for your time.